Hi, I'm Hingers, and welcome to Good Game Well Played, your weekly guide to the wonderful world of esports. This week on the show, we're going to dive into the ever-growing market for teams and player transfers. But first, let's take a look at the big news stories of the week. Around 600 fans of virtual violence descended upon Melbourne over the weekend for Battle Arena Melbourne 7. The tournament played host to locals as well as several international guests competing in fighting games including Mortal Kombat X, Street Fighter 4 and Super Smash Bros. Melee. American Joseph Marquez, also known as Mango, took out the Super Smash Bros. Melee singles bracket, beating Swedish pro Leffen 3-2 in the finals.
That's gonna do it! That's grand!
Is our champion.
Congratulations! This is something of a revenge victory for Mango, who lost $1,000 to Leffen in a money match at Apex 2015 earlier this year. Meanwhile, this weekend also saw implementation for new rules concerning competitive League of Legends play. In a blog post on Saturday, developer Riot announced rule changes allowing teams to substitute plays between Day 1 and Day 2 of a League Championship Series week, and also in between games within a series during playoffs. They also have capped playoff team rosters to 6, so teams will have to choose their only reserve carefully, which means I'm unlikely to get the call-up as a novelty signing. Alright, let's talk teams and transfers. The life of a pro gamer is a complicated one. Sure, you're earning money playing video games, and I think we can all agree that that is obviously the dream. But how do you afford all those keyboards, headsets, and all-important mouse pads you'll be burning through with your sick APM? For many pro gamers, the necessity of training facilities, energy drinks, and obscene luxuries like food and shelter means joining a pro team makes sense. But these teams are more than just people who you play and train with. For some, these are global brands and media empires worth millions of dollars. However, just like in traditional, that is sweaty, sports, esports teams have to compete for the best players by offering bigger and more lucrative contracts. There are transfer stories in every scene, but we're going to focus on Dota 2 today, because last week we talked about League of Legends, and some of you were very upset about that. Dota is better. Bit of a shit interview to do with the international so close. Yeah, we get it. People like LOL, but it's not got the prize pools of Dota 2. Hingers, you're so awkward, man. Deep breaths and calm down before the next interview. Awkward? Why would you say I'm not, what's that about? I'm not awkward. If anyone's awkward, it's probably you who is that thing. So, yeah. Anyway, today we'll be taking a brief look at the transfer market in Dota 2, particularly in China. As a bit of context, Dota 2, that is Defense of the Ancients 2, is a MOBA developed by Valve Corporation with a guy called IceFrog, who was one of the designers of the original Defense of the Ancients. Dota 2 is free to play, but there are in-game purchases available. For the most part, these are cosmetic in-game purchases for in-game changes, different skins for characters, different couriers, things that don't really affect gameplay. Valve also sells compendiums, which are these interactive online booklets that update to include tournament info and stats, and often include tournament viewing tickets. Compendiums are also often used to raise prize money for the associated tournaments, in particular the International, an annual Dota 2 tournament that is hosted by Valve itself. This means that fans of competitive Dota 2 can directly fund the prize pools of big tournaments and are encouraged to do so by stretch goals, which range from skins for curses and wards to new in-game soundtracks and even a fully funded film festival. The point is that all this means the International is currently the richest tournament in esports, and as a result, Dota 2 transfers are some of the most big money deals you'll see in professional gaming. For example, back in August 2014, Chinese Dota 2 player Xiao Tuji, also known as Rabbit, broke transfer records when he moved from LGD Gaming to Newbie in a deal worth over $130,000. But that record didn't last long, and earlier this year, LGD paid over $320,000 for former Newbie player Xiao 8. And these huge transfer fees are funded by prospective prize money from big tournaments like the International. China in particular is interesting because the Chinese have a kind of players association in the Association of Chinese Esports. The ACE Alliance, as it's also known, oversees and has to approve all transfers of members and will hand out bans if teams step outside their regulations. For example, Chinese Dota 2 team eHome bought Lanma back in May 2012 without Ace's approval, and so Ace then banned all other Chinese teams from having practice matches with eHome, fining them up to $1,700 if they broke the embargo. Open qualifiers for the Dota 2 2015 International have just gotten underway in China, with the main event taking place in Seattle at the beginning of August. Over 1,000 teams are competing for a slot in each region's main qualifier, and the prize pool currently sits at just over $9 million US. I think we can all agree that bigger prize money in esports is generally a good thing. Handsomely rewarding players for their training, skill and hard work is among the best ways to grow and further legitimize esports. And it's also a stronger avenue than sponsorship deals in the long term. Don't get me wrong, I think sponsorship deals are really important for our fledgling industry, and certainly these two things aren't mutually exclusive. But these vast crowdsourced prize pools have absolutely no vested interest in selling keyboards or headsets or mouse pads like sponsorship deals do. Prize pools are only interested in attracting the best players to play the best games, and I think that is where the future of esports lies. It's up to people like us to support the kinds of tournaments we want to see. And with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the upcoming local events. The 2015 Pokemon Video Game National Championship is happening in Melbourne from June 6 to 8 at the Melbourne Park Function Centre. Players will have to bring their own Nintendo 3DS and either Pokemon Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, and have to be registered Pokemon Trainers Club members. Also, the Australian Cyber League got in touch with us to let us know they're doing an event in Sydney at the end of June. We'll give you more details closer to the event on that one, so watch this space. Remember, if you've got a local event you'd like us to cover, or you're part of a cool local scene, get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter, or email, and each week we'll pick a few to mention. Thanks again for watching. My name is Hingers. This has been Good Game Well Played. See ya!
Beyond Evolution, Mega Evolve!